All right, y'all. Welcome back to the Work with Brands Weekly Public Strategy Call. And I'm glad that you all have joined us today on September 23rd or 23 because we've got some very important information to share with our community members today. And look, we always have information to share with you all, so it's no different than any other time. But what we're going to do here is definitely support our community members with organizing the steps that support them with getting their projects out here, with getting them done. And many of you all utilize many tools in the community. Y'all hear us using our electronic tools and our digital tools and our calendars and our schedules and the routines and the consistency, and all of that means that we are utilizing the resources that we have, because that's what we have identified as a resource for us. And we already know that these are the same resources that our community members can use too. So we utilize the tools of the time, the season, to remind us of the importance of where we are right now today. But we also utilize that as a tool to reflect back on where we have come from. And these are some common themes that you're going to hear when you join our call here each and every week, because look, it's a reminder. Every day that you walk out of that door and you leave your house to go to work, isn't that a reminder for you that you have a bill to pay? Because that's the reason that you're going out the house to pay, right? To go get that money so that you can bring it back to pay the bills so that you can be comfortable in your own house. So you all should use these tools that we even bring to you to help remind us, well, what's the purpose that we're going out here to get that pay? And is that the purpose that we're going out here to get that pay? Are we leaving our house 8 to 10 hours a day so that we can leave our houses uncovered to make sure that other people's businesses are taken care of? Or do we have an ultimate plan? We really are leaving our houses. We're not abandoning them, because we make sure that we provide security measures in place, that we review those security measures on a regular basis, that they are making sure that even those resources that we are utilizing security are doing the things that they need to do. You all get our bills on a regular basis, and you make sure that you pay those bills on a regular basis, but you review that we are getting the benefits from our regular activities and our routines. Are we getting the benefits on a regular basis that we are looking for? And look, even as we grow in the stages of our lives, because many of us who have just graduated last year and are elevating them steps into different professions or different promotions and different levels and positions in their community, look, they also are now getting new information. That is not, it's new to them, but it's not new to, the people who have passed on the responsibility to them. It may be new to them, but this is where they're starting to recognize some of their routines in their leadership, in their task mastering, in their making sure that they're connecting the dots. They have new routines to come out. And see, this is how many of our professionals in the community, we utilize our routines, our schedules, and our consistency to make sure that things are continuing to progress. Many of us don't even realize, but look, most of our professions are dictated from the routines, not by professionals, but from those that were providing services to the professionals. Do you all realize that? Most of them were providing products and services to the professionals, because the professionals weren't always professionals here in America. Look, our community has not always been a very professional community. So we have to understand that when we start the routines in our community, there may be new routines. There may be new consistencies that we are looking at. There may be new reminders that we need to get across to each other. So this is why we tend to use not just the seasons to remind us a little bit about what we have done in the past year or the years before, but we also want to use our tools, our resources, to make sure that we are gathering what we need so that the future also is, as comfortable as what we had in the past, if we were comfortable. Some of us weren't comfortable, so we have to also think about that, or think about what we would like to change or do differently so that we can change our position in the future. And now you all know September, this is a great time to do that. We have shared so many gems and treasures that have come about in September. But look, September is going to come and go really quick. We only have 7 more days into this month. So if you all are counting down some of the tools that we have on a regular basis, because we use the calendar as a tool. Some of you all set your reminders and your meetings according to the dates and the times. Some of you all do the research based off of what time it is. Sometimes you all even understand more about yourselves as you are walking through the tools that we use. Because if you all are capturing the information, if you are reviewing the information, look, you're learning a lot about what you are capable of doing with the tools that are utilized. But I have a question, because what happens and what are your plans if the tools that you depend on suddenly change? Now, look, let me tell you, some of us think that some of these things don't ever change. We sit in these chairs on a regular basis, never thinking that they're going to break on us. We trust these tools, that they're going to hold our weight every day. Yet there are so many tools that we also use to show how people have, falsely trusted these tools and unfortunately have landed on the ground, even though the chair looked like it was going to be sturdy. But we have to really understand that when we rely on so many tools, so many mechanisms, and so many consistent stages, what would happen if those things broke? What would happen if those things didn't work? Well, I'm going to tell you something here in America, y'all. Many of us may not think about this very much, but if you work in a space where teams are constantly on a movement, look, let me tell you, if you have a creative team, one that may be consistent of funders, a creative team that may be consistent of strategic thinkers. Maybe you all have teams that are, consistent with, movers and shakers that get things done. But many of you all are so amazed when we get around to the times where we are, evaluating how we have come through this year. We are amazed at how we have gotten through. Because guess what? Some of these tools that we have depended on for centuries, they're getting ready to break. And some of y'all can see that. Some of y'all can see how the languages in our contracts aren't necessarily consistent with some of the way that the actions are taken when we are motivating each other. Some of us even are seeing that, some of the languages that we use, it's a trap. It is really not consistent of the meaning of what we're thinking we're communicating, but instead the other person who receives or interprets it, really seeing something different. And then we also are seeing that with some of these tools are actually made to create gaps and to create the distances so that other tools can be used to bring those bridges together. But all of we are trying to bring to our community's attention is, look, in our activities, as we are walking through the ways that we are progressing each and every day, look, every one of us, we all know that we have goals we have daily goals on our mind. We have things that we need to satisfy today in order to get to tomorrow. But many of us know that, it doesn't matter what happens today, because our day, the day that we're waiting for, is going to happen at the end of the week. So we have to make sure that we get through just today, tomorrow, and the rest of this week, just so we can get to the end of the week, because that's when, the celebration is going to occur at the end of the week. Or maybe it is just that we are utilizing these tools and we're just holding out to see what's going to happen next, instead of utilizing our ability and superpower to be strategic and use our funding powers, or use our team abilities and our advancement, our experience with progress to make different plans. Instead, we continue to wait and see, well, what happened last year? We don't want to test anything out new. We don't want to see what's going to happen if we try something different. Well, here at Work with Grants, look, this is the space where we're going to talk about it. We do more than just talk about it. We test it, we try it out, and we encourage our community to share their feedback and their experiences of what they have done with the tool. So look, that's no different. We're going to invite you all back to our community. Yes, we have a platform at workwithgrants.com, and we have groups. Those of you all who have joined in the Work with Grants community group, definitely share with us some of the things that you are preparing your 2025 into 2026 to do. What projects have you put on your plate? What are you going to try to do differently? What have you recognized about yourself for the past 12, or we're in month 9 right now, according to the Gregorian calendar. So we're going to utilize these tools that we have. In 9 months, what have you noticed about yourself just in this year alone? Because look, I'm going to tell you, everybody that is still alive this day has had a birthday within the last 365 days, okay? And somebody is going to have a birthday tomorrow. But that's a lot of information that one body can actually tell itself. Now, let me tell you, if one body can tell itself so much information in 365 days, how much could one body tell a group of 10 people in 30 days? Oh, a lot. I could tell you that, because if that one body is paying attention to the changes around them in the 365 days, they're not just paying attention to it. They are tracking the changes. Maybe that last year, the knees weren't hurting. But now, this year, you've noticed every time you bend that knee, there's a little creak. It doesn't hurt, but there's a little creak. It's a difference that you've noticed. Do you know that even at that age, that 1 year, that one individual has so much information to share to another individual that, honey, you all pay so much money to make sure that y'all go to these doctors and tell them that information. I don't know if they're collecting it or not, but look, we spend a lot of our traditions making sure that we report our efforts to others, but we don't even know what happens to the reports that we make to our doctors, or the reports that we make to, to our church officials, or to the reports that we make to let them know how we're doing. We don't know how that actually goes up to the leaders above them, because look, with that leadership, that level of leadership, they're probably getting 10 to 20 information or feedback from information. And they probably don't know how to assess that if they're not utilizing a system of consistency, or one that really supports, getting their progressive movement to the next. So this is where a lot of our community members who have already been utilizing these traditions and our pathways of the past, we tend to report things to individuals and to communities and associations. So look, after we report it, what happens? I don't know, because many of those policies that those associations and those organizations, they are going to come down to impact you. But look, just imagine this. If you have not done your annual report to the people who service you, whether they're your elected representatives, whether they are your faith-based leaders and you trust them with your whole heart, or whether they're your professionally trained medical providers that you rely on to provide your solutions when you're not feeling good. If you have not reported to them on the status of what the results have been, if you haven't even tracked that, then look, you're definitely coming to the right space, because here at Work with Grants, we're going to talk more about how our community members can not just learn to track their efforts, but utilize that as the impact that supports their grant projects going into 2025 into 2026. You all think that a lot of this information isn't getting collected. Let me tell you exactly where it is getting collected. I'm going to share it when you come back after we take this break, because, yes, we are trying to stay on time and utilize our tools appropriately. So we'll be back in a little bit.